Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to Calithon Fire Relief 2019. I'm your host, Metasigma, for this wonderful run by RaikouRider, Super Mario Bros. 3, Every the Switch. Supposedly, he told me there's 38 of them. But first, before we get started, we're going to just, we have a quick donation from Pepsi Man. Pepsi Man wants you to see the glorious cutscenes in this game that bears my name. I guess Pepsi Man thinks the cutscenes in the game are really awesome, so, it's Pepsi Man. But without further ado, RaikouRider, if you will please show us the awesomeness that is Super Mario Bros. 3, every the 38 switches. Take it away.
Good evening, everybody. I'm RaikouRider, and this category for Super Mario Bros. 3 is a relatively new category. Been around a little bit less than a year. In this category, we're going to be beating the game while hitting all 38 of the game's P switches. There are no other restrictions. So just like in the All Fortresses category that was the predecessor to this one, you'll be seeing all 3 warp whistles used, and you'll be seeing a couple of other strategies and some content that you will not see in any other category. So with that, we will go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So this category is about the same length as a warpless run. There's going to be a lot more variety of power-ups used. You'll see a lot less Fire Flower, a lot more Tail, as well as some other creative things you'll see a little bit later on. I am also running on the Super Nintendo version of the game instead of the NES version of the game for a couple of different reasons. Most of them are related to just marathon safety, just in case something were to go wrong during the run. On the NES version, I would not be able to restart quite as easily. Whereas on the SNES version, you would be allowed to restart from the beginning of a world in case something goes wrong. So one thing you'll see me do at the end of every stage that has a goal card, you'll see me do a little bit of a delay to make sure that I can avoid getting 3 of the same card in a row. Because getting 3 of the same card in a row gives you a fireworks and some extra lives, and we don't got time for that. So most of the early part of World 1 and World 2 is just going to be obtaining all the warp whistles, because we will use all 3 of them to be able to skip pretty large portions of the game. Just made it to the top. You can get up from the right side, but it does cost a few seconds. And that's actually all the switches in World 1. Once you hit all of the switches in a world, you are permitted to warp out and move on to the next world. And some stages do have multiple switches, and any stage with multiple switches, you do need to hit all of them. Alright. Little bit of a tricky enemy kill here. Got it? Cool. Just lets you get up to to this pipe, which has a hidden switch in it and some coins. Now, one thing that's neat about this particular category is you do get to see a lot of extra content that you won't get to see in any other category. I'm sure any of you watching will have a couple of "wait, that's there" moments. And this added requirement does have a significant impact on just general movement in the stages. For instance, this wooden platform, we do need to use it to access this. Now, the warping route that we use is even different from all switches, and you'll be able to get the explanation of that closer to when we begin World 4. Any stage that doesn't have a switch in it generally has the same strategies as in Warpless. A lot of the reason why we need to use more power-ups than we do in a standard Warpless run is because a lot of the switches in the game can only be accessed via flight. And maintaining a P-speed or running speed in Super Mario Bros. 3 can be quite a challenge with a tail, because as soon as you jump, you only maintain P-speed for 10 seconds afterward. And unfortunately, I got the wrong bro there, so that'll be a little bit of a time loss from having an extra Hammer Bro. We don't need to defeat all the Hammer Bros on the world maps, like you would in a 100% run. This is actually one of my favorite strategies for getting to one of the switches, is because if you're still using primarily Tail instead of Fire Flower for Warpless, that is actually faster than Warpless, or the regular Warpless strat by a couple of seconds. Oh, I get 2 stars in a row. That could get ugly. I need to be careful about it. Quicksand stage hasn't changed at all. I like to use that those last 3 hill tiles in the background as a visual cue for when to jump over the tornado. And there's that delay coming into play where if you run at the card at and jump into it at a 45-degree angle, you'll get a star every time. So if you just delay for a little bit, you'll be able to get a mushroom instead. There's a bit of a tight P-speed here that I need to grab to be able to get up to this bonus room optimally. Hesitated a little bit to make sure that I was on the left edge of the platform, but managed to get up with minimal time loss. Solid stage overall. I wanted to try to do a tail attack on that Paragoomba instead of jumping on it twice, just because it's a little faster to do it that way. Almost had the speed to be able to clip into that switch. There are some switches that you can actually clip into from underneath, if you have the right speed and the right angle, and that can save a little bit of time as well. You'll see that predominantly in World 4, and I will point it out when we get there. How did I not get that boomerang? I'm not quite sure how I didn't just eat a face full of boomerang there. So we are going to pick up this frog suit here. We're surprisingly not going to be using this frog suit in the water world. We're going to be using it in World 4. There's a specific stage in World 4 that is made significantly faster with a frog suit. And although it's not strictly required to access the switches in that stage, it is significantly faster to do so that way. Alright, so time for mids. Pyramids has kind of a cool strategy at the end that involves using a switch to gain a little bit of extra speed towards the end, where we'll be able to pass through. Some coin block or some blocks that you would normally need to use a tail for, while there's still coins. So a little bit of a miscue at the end, not being able to get running speed off the pipe, but that's absolutely fine. So World 2's airship is the first airship we're going to play, and all of these airships are auto-scrollers where there is very little to do. So anytime you see an airship or an auto-scroller in general is a great time to read donation. There is not a lot to do on these airships, unfortunately. And as far as power-ups go, because World 3 is the underwater stage and firepower tends to be very useful casually, you'll see a lot more fire flowers than you will the leaf. But the leaf is very useful for going faster in... darn. Was not expecting that rocket wrench to stand up on me. Jumping on enemies repeatedly to get extra lives is one thing that we just as runners do to keep ourselves occupied during the auto-scrollers. And sometimes you can pay the price, but this isn't a huge deal. It'll be a little irritating in World 3, too, but that's about it. We don't necessarily need a tail for anything else in World 3 other than making the second stage a little faster. So there aren't a whole ton of switches in World 3, so it plays a lot like a warpless or 100% run for the first half. The routing for the second half of this world gets interesting, though. We're going to be playing a very strange order of stages, which I'll get to once we get to the second half. Routing this category was a very interesting challenge. I'll just put it that way. Because one thing that you have to do when you try to route something like this, that's a problem. This could get fun. Might need to get a little creative to get to this one. Good save, good save. That is definitely not the way you're supposed to hit that. I just ended up missing the block by about half a tile there, but we kept the run alive and lost roughly 10 seconds. Which, it could have been a lot worse. That could have very easily been a death. So this is our first stage with Boss Bass. He's the big fish. And he doesn't care what power-ups you have. If he swallows you, you are dead. So we want nothing to do with him. And thankfully we were able to get out of that stage relatively unscathed. So it looks like the Hammer Bros, I think they're going to cooperate. So one thing that can end warpless runs and runs of this category is depending on where the Hammer Brothers go on the world map. They can run behind stage 6, and that messes up the routing for this world a lot. So it is possible but unlikely at this point that the Hammer Bro does run away, and now he can't because they're both very close to me. And this is my punishment for losing Tail, is I have to wait for that bro. That's fine though. Now, one thing I am going to be keeping my eye on is score and coin count. In worlds 1, 3, 5, and 6, there's a specific thing I need to avoid, and that's having a multiple of 11 coins, and the tens digit of my score matching that multiple of 11. If those digits match, then I get a coin ship, which is about a 1.5-minute time loss. It's a very slow auto-scroller, and we don't want auto-scrollers, they're slow. So normally in a warpless run, we would use a cloud to skip 3-6, but there is a switch at the end of this stage, so I am forced to play this. Which means that cloud will be used elsewhere. Now, a coin ship is pretty easily avoidable, but it can ruin runs if you're not paying attention. So this is the switch in the stage, but I actually want to wait as long as possible to be able to hit this. So this way the switch can stay active as long as possible. So that I can jump into that pipe. I can jump into that pipe while it's scrolled onto the screen a minimal amount. Did not do a very good job of it, unfortunately. But we're through the stage all the same, that's what matters. 3-7 is one of the coolest stages in this entire category. Not only is there a hidden switch up here, but we're also going to be taking a secret exit out of the stage. And the whole reason why we take this exit is because there is a cloud here. What Jugem's Cloud does is it lets you skip any stage. Now, per the rules of the category, we do need to hit all switches. So we need to at least enter every stage that has a switch and press the switch. So that will impact the ability you have to utilize the clouds that you get. I do need to do a little bit more testing, but this is one of those stages that I would consider skipping as 3-9. That's not what I wanted to do. I really wanted to have a tail for a while, but that's clearly not going to happen. You can take out either one of those cheeps underwater, it doesn't really matter. Just so long as you can take out one of them, because if you don't take out both of them, you'll need to slow down to maneuver around both of them, and who wants to do that? This is a speed run. We have to go fast. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to keep a tail is because these rocky wrenches and this bullet bill shooter, you can use those to get extra lives. It's one of the few places that you can actually obtain extra lives on an airship. So unfortunately, because of the lack of a tail, I wasn't able to do that for you. I'm sorry. So our next Koopaling, Wendy, is unique among the Koopalings in that her attacks stay on the screen. And if you don't stomp her right away, she's going to start flooding the screen with projectiles. And dodging all of them is just no fun. So now we're moving on to World 4, which is the Giant Land. Casual favorite for certain, and has a lot of fun strategies when trying to go very fast as well. The first stage is relatively straightforward. Although you can make it a lot less straightforward when you drop inputs. That's no big deal. There's a backup right here. Another thing that's very important if you do decide to run this category is knowing where all the backup power-ups are. Because there are some power-ups in this game that you will, or some switches in this game that you will need a tail to access. And being able to conserve power-ups is really important. That first Sledge Brother has a 50-50 chance of either jumping or just staying on the ground, and you kind of have to react to him. I want to say it's frame rule based. It's a similar concept to SMB1's frame rules, but it impacts a lot less things. That was a irritatingly long hammer dance. But that's the RNG of Mario 3. So you might remember that frog suit that we picked up at the end of World 2. We're going to make use of it here. You can get into this area without a frog suit, but it's much faster and much easier to do it this way. And of course, I missed the first clip. You can clip into both of those P-switches with the frog suit. And then just having the frog suit in general makes this stage much easier and much faster. But I do want to dump the frog suit towards the end, because it's much faster to dump it in the water than it is to dump it anywhere else. Oh, 2 stars again. Now, one of these bros has a junk item, and the other has an item that I actually want. Nice hitbox. Oh yeah, Mario 3 hitboxes. You gotta love them. They're notoriously really bad. There is a backup tail there if you need it. So hopefully this bro has the item I want, which is a P-Wing. Because if this one has the P-Wing, we can save a little bit of time. He does not. So unfortunately, I'm going to need to run back around to the other bro to pick up the P-Wing. This is needed for a specific stage later in the game. So that's one extra bro. Each extra bro costs roughly 12 seconds. Some of them less, some of them more. We will have an opportunity to pick up a tail in the next stage, which, by the way, shoutouts to Nintendo for designing what may be one of the most boring stages in 2D Mario. So not only is this airship one of the longest in terms of pure tiles, in terms of pure tile count, it also moves at half speed. So this is a nice 2.5 minute auto-scroller, and there's only one enemy here, so just give me a minute. This will be a great time to see what chat's up to. So how's everybody doing? By the way, you got any donations? Now would be a perfect time.
Wait. That's there? Greetings from the World 4 airship. This airship is so slow, I have nothing better to do than make a donation mid. Thanks to the Cal Fire staff for featuring the All Switches run. Good luck to all the runners. Donation goes toward the Mario 64 Glitch Expedition. But hey, I'm impressed that RaikouRider was able to make a $5 donation from this World 4 airship. That takes talent. That takes serious talent to be able to multitask like that. While he's dodging fire in like the slowest way possible, he still has time to get on his phone and donate.
And that's the end of the World 4 airship. Yes, it is. Even with warp whistles, it is actually faster to play World 4 all the way through. Because a lot of the switches in World 5 are concentrated towards the start of the world. So despite that being a 2.5-minute auto-scroller, it is actually faster to play that airship and skip, roughly 40% of World 5. Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that this is there either. This level has a secret exit as well. Generally speaking, the only time you'll ever see this exit is in Randomizer.
What?
Yes, that's there.
I learn something new every day about this game.
I am glad I could show you this because
my mind's blown right now. Wow, that's actually really cool.
Yeah, that exists. And that's slightly faster than it's slightly faster than taking the regular exit. Not by much, but it is slightly faster. So I am going to be picking up a Tanuki suit here. This will be used at the start of World 7. Mostly for consistency in a marathon setting, because if you are going for a record/PB time, there's an extremely difficult trick that some of you may be familiar with from other categories called the 7-1 clip. If you have a tail, that trick becomes exponentially harder. And the routing for this category necessitates that we keep a tail for... Okay. I was not planning on taking a hit there, and I'm not quite sure how I didn't just fall straight in the lava there, but that's absolutely fine. I will take alive. So here's another instance where RNG can rear its ugly head. Yep. 2 extra bros. Nice marathon luck. Nice marathon luck. More marathon luck! The bro that has the P-Wing going behind stage 3 is about the worst possible outcome there. Wow. 2 for 2. The window to duck underneath those thwomps without slowing down is pretty tight. Other than that, though, the tower is a pretty nondescript stage. It does have a unique way to exit because the tower links the upper and lower sections of World 5. So overall, I would say the run is pretty solid right now. And also for just anything about the video quality, I apologize. I do have a bit of an older card. So this next stage is going to feature our first instance of a new strategy that you're going to get to see. Remember when I said at the beginning of the run that the rules of the category are we need to defeat Bowser and hit all 38 P-switches? Well, you're going to see a unique strategy that you won't see in any other category of this game. And you'll see why it's unique pretty shortly. Geronimo! We don't actually need to beat the stages, we just need to hit all the switches, and because this next stage has a switch that requires us to have a P-Wing, we can actually take an intentional death in the auto-scroller, which saves roughly 12-ish seconds. Alright, I gotta do a bit of a tricky dodge here. Unfortunately missed it. But we still made it out of the stage okay. We are gonna give back a significant amount of this time. That's the last switch in this world, so we can now move on to World 6. Ideally, I would have liked to have had... I would have ideally liked to have had a... tail coming into the stage, because now I'm going to need to get a backup tail. And it's pretty far into the level. It's this one. The reason why is because the P-switch in the stage is in a bonus room that is extremely well hidden. Yes, that exists. It's one of the most well-hidden secrets in the game. So hopefully that bro doesn't run away from me either. Because that one has the last hammer that we need on our route. Nothing too terribly much to stage 6-3. World 6 is also the last world where getting a coin ship is a risk. You can only get coin ships in worlds 1, 3, 5, and 6. Oh, this is one of my favorite corridors in the game as well. This is a pixel-perfect fit, so you can actually jump as rapidly as 30 hertz if you want in that tunnel. Alright. So hopefully we can get a star kill on Boom Boom. We're not going to get it. If you get hung up at all on that ledge, you're going to lose too much speed to be able to nail him. So unfortunately, we won't get the star kill. But I'm going to shout it anyway because it's a marathon. Orb! So World 6 is also where the platforming starts to get a lot trickier. There are all kinds of horrible things that can go wrong. in that stage. Unfortunately, we will not be able to grab a hammer suit for the end of this run. It's just not feasible. So normally, if I was on say a personal best attempt, I would go for a trick called 6-2 fly here, where you fly underneath the stage to try to skip a lot of these sliding thwomp sections. But if you screw it up, you die, and you might remember that I just used a cloud to skip 6-5. So if you use a cloud to skip a stage and then you die on the next one, you have to do the stage that you skipped. And 6F2 fly is not an easy trick. Even the best runners can have trouble with it on occasion. So a little bit of a mishap at the end of that stage, but did manage to salvage it at the very least. So now 6-9. Normally in every other category, what we would do is we would fly over this wall to go straight to the exit. So in this category, in the all switches category, is the only time that you will see the underground section in 6-9 outside of a randomizer. But I would much rather have had a leaf for this stage, because this stage can be kind of irritating without one. And that's the last switch in World 6, so everything for the next two stages is going to be just like in Warpless. Not quite. That's not good. So this could make the next stage fun. And by fun, I mean I need to be especially careful the entire time, because it's very critical that I come out of the next airship with a mushroom and only a mushroom. Although it looks like you need the bolt lifts to make that jump, you don't. There's an off-screen platform that will catch you otherwise. So I'm going to need to focus a little bit to make sure that I don't take damage here during the fight with Lemmy. It shouldn't be an issue. Okay, we're good. Just need to make sure that I have exactly a mushroom, because we are coming up on the 7-1 clip, the easiest trick in the game, and by easiest trick in the game, I mean one of the most irritating tricks in the game, just because of how precise it is. Now, if I was doing a personal best attempt, especially if you're doing this at a high level, you're going to need to do this next trick with a tail, which makes it roughly 16 times harder to do. So there's a specific block that I'm going to try to jump into the corner of to be able to clip through a wall. All right, how many tries is this going to take?
1. You'll get it first try.
I wish. I'm not sure why that didn't work. That one looked good. You get something like 25 attempts at this before it becomes slower than playing the level. So that was, I think, 15th try. Believe it or not, that is actually still faster than playing through the level normally. So with that trick, what you're trying to do is you're trying to jump into the corner pixel of the block to clip inside of it, and then catch the wall jump pixel on the next block so that it clips you into the first block and through the through the wall to the end of the stage. And it is very, very precise. It's actually pixel perfect. If you try to do that with a tail, it is sub-pixel perfect. And the reason why I grabbed the tail is because I actually need a tail for the rest of this world. World 7 in all switches is very, very short. So I am going to be taking my time a little bit through this world, just to ensure that I don't lose tail. So World 8 in this category is only 4 stages. I mostly wanted to jump into that Lakitud towards the end of the invincibility running out to make sure that he wouldn't get in my way at the end. So 7-4 thankfully has no switches in it and is an auto-scroller, so see you later, 7-4. That piranha plant next to the fort, that has a backup P-Wing if you need one. And this fort is the reason why we need to hold a tail. Is because if you don't have a tail coming into this level, it takes about 20 seconds to get one. And that's the end of World 7. There are actually no more switches in this world, so we can use our last whistle to go to World 8. Good old auto-scroller alley. I'm not quite sure why Nintendo decided that the final world in the game should just be completely chock full of auto-scrollers. I want to say there are 4 of them. Because there's this one, there's the battleships, there's the Air Force, and the other tank. Yeah, there's 4. All of which are required. But there's a backup tail in this block if you need it. I like the pace of this, though. So the fate of whether this is over or under goal, I think depends on hand luck.
Isn't hand luck like just the crux of Super Mario Brothers 3 runs in general?
For every category except 100%.
So there you go.
Because in 100, that's actually why 100% is my favorite category to run. Is because in 100% you have to complete all the hands anyway. But you do bring up a good point that, casually speaking, auto-scrollers do tend to be more difficult. Not so much when you've played the game a few hundred times. The hand animation is slower, but the time difference is insignificant. I want to say it's about a second, as opposed to playing the whole hand level, which, depending on which hand you get, can be of varying length. So we're coming up to that moment. Get your guesses in chat. How many hands? There can be up to 3.
We're going for the full marathon luck, so I'm guessing 3.
We actually haven't had too much marathon luck so far. And I would prefer to keep it that way. All right, here we go. 1. 1 hand. So each hand has a 50% chance to grab you. So we wound up on the good side of average, which I will take. And because the Air Force gives me PTSD, we're gonna use it. We're gonna use a P-wing for this level and say, "See you later." But yes, this should be well under estimate. The hour and 5-minute estimate is very generous. Our pace should actually be right around the hour mark, which is a good time. My best time in this category is 58 minutes, 40 seconds. So is anybody else just terrified of this level their first time through the game? Alright, so coming up in this next stage, 8-1, you might remember the death abuse from 5-6. Well, we're going to be doing another one here, because this stage's only switch is near the start of the level. It's actually right above where you start. And then we'll use our last P-Wing to make this, while not necessary for this stage, it does make it easier, for sure. Unless you forget you can't duck on slopes. This is okay, though. Minimal amount of time lost. Alright, so 8F is unique in that it is the only level in the game that has 3 switches. This one is the most well hidden of the 3. The other two you'll just hit during natural play. Now this Fire Flower we actually need to hold for the rest of the run if we want to get the fire kill on Bowser. Unfortunately, there is no consolation clip in this version of the game because the wall in the hidden Fire Flower room was moved 1 tile to the right, so you can no longer do the consolation clip into the room. So just 2 stages to go. That is all 38 switches in the game. So now we just have one more auto-scroller and Bowser's Castle. Oh, I forgot to go for the patented Oglib strat on this level. I want to give some shoutouts to Oglib. He has a strategy on this level where, as long as you jump before any cannons, you can just mash the fireball button and you won't get hit by any. Like, mash the fireball button and hold right and you won't get hit by anything in this level. It's a patented Oglib strat. So what we're looking for in the Bowser stage is we're looking for a fire kill on him. If we can get a fire kill, then this has a chance at being sub-hour. Unfortunately, because of the way the cloud routing works for this run, it is not feasible to get a hammer kill. That's the kind of kill I would prefer because it is by far the fastest way to kill Bowser. That's the Everyman clip. Anybody can do that. No, seriously, anybody can do that clip. It's super easy. Nice, got the fire kill. So this should be sub-hour. Time is on entering the door to Peach's room, by the way. And time. I will absolutely take a sub-hour. That's a great run. Sub-hour is what you want to see. So thank you so much to all the staff involved in the California Fire Relief Marathon for allowing such a goofy category to be in. Just shout-outs to the Mario 3 crew. Shout-outs to the 2D Mario crew in general. Thank you very much for having me. Let's keep it coming. Good luck to all the runners.
Awesome run there, Raikou. Of the 38 switches.
Thanks. That was actually deathless too.
That was really good.
No unintentional deaths.
Very good. Yeah. Like I said, I saw something I'd never seen before, and that's one of the nice things about Mario Brothers 3 is that years later there are still things that I'm learning about the game. So, do you have anything else you want to say real quick before we move on?
Not particularly. Just again, thanks for having me. Can't wait to see you what next year bodes.
Hopefully, wonderful things. All right, then. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have the Elder Scrolls Anthology by Chronos Returns. So don't touch that dial, guys. We will be right back.